In this video, we're going to look at an example of graphing a piecewise defined function. So here's our piecewise defined function. F of x is equal to negative x squared if x is strictly less than 0. F of x is going to be equal to 4 if x is equal to 0. And f of x will be 3x minus 2 if x is greater than 0. So just a reminder on the notation over here, on this first equation, I'm only looking at negative numbers. When I make my t-chart, I do want to evaluate at 0 just to see what the graph is doing, but that point that I find in my t-charts will be an open circle. Remember, an open circle is our way of showing that this point is not actually a part of the graph. When x is 0, we're going to have the point 0, 4. This will be a closed circle. And finally, with our third equation, we're looking at all of our positive values. So 1, 2, 3, and so on. But we do still want to evaluate at 0 just so we can see what the graph is doing. Okay, and again, this will also be an open circle. Okay, so let's make some t-charts. For negative x squared, here we're looking at x less than 0. And again, I want to evaluate at 0 just to see what's happening on my graph. Let me fix my y here so it looks better. Thank you. Okay, so plugging in 0 to negative x squared. 0 times 0 is 0. Negative 0 is 0. So we have a point 0, 0, and again, we need this to be an open circle. Now I need to choose negative numbers, and we'll keep them small because it's easy. So let's pick negative 1. Plugging negative 1 in here for x squared, I have negative 1 times negative 1. That's positive 1. But this negative out front changes it back to negative, so I have the point negative 1 and negative 1. I can pick one more. Let's pick negative 2. So plugging in negative 2 to negative x squared, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and then this negative sign changes it back to negative, so I have negative 2, negative 4. And remember, I'm graphing x squared here. It's a parabola, so let's keep that in mind. This is not a straight line. It's going to be a slight curve, okay? Then at x equals 4, at x equals 0, we said that f of x would be equal to 4. So having a t-chart here, x and y, if I plug in 0, I can only have 4 as my y value. I don't even have an equation to evaluate. So this is a point, a closed point. And we have one more to do. When x is strictly greater than 0, we're looking at the equation 3x minus 2. So let's make a t-chart, x and y. And one more time, I still want to go ahead and evaluate with 0 just to see what's happening on the graph. So taking 0 and plugging it in for x, I have 3 times 0, which is 0, minus 2. So I have the point 0 minus 2. And remember, my x has to be strictly greater than 0, so this is an open circle. We just want to know what the line is heading towards, not actually where it's at. Let's go ahead and pick a couple more values to evaluate. We'll keep them small again, so let's pick 1. Plugging 1 into this equation for x, I have 3 times 1, which is 3, minus 2, gives me 1 again. And for one more value, let's pick 2. Plugging 2 in for x, I have 3 times 2 is 6. Minus 2 gives me 4. Okay? And this is linear. So on this portion of the graph, we'll have a straight line. This portion will have a closed point. And on this portion, we'll have part of a parabola. Now that we have our t-charts done, we can go ahead and graph this function. Okay, remember this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. So graphing this part of the parabola, at 0, 0, we need an open circle. Remember, 0, 0 doesn't actually exist on this part of the equation, so it has to be open. Then we have the point -1, -1, so left 1, down 1. And then we have the point -2, -4, so left 2, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and remember, we can keep picking values, so our graph is not going to stop right here. It's going to keep going. So when we graph it in, we're starting over here at our open circle. We're making our part of the parabola, and then it's going to just keep going. And so we use an arrow to identify it's just going to keep going. Good. So we got this one done. Let's move to our middle t-chart. We have a closed point at 0, 4. So x is 0 right here at the origin. We just need to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have a closed point right here. And that's all we can do. So we're done here. And now let's graph the linear portion. Okay, so again, I have another open circle at 0, -2. So here at 0, I can go down to 1, 2, open circle. Then I have the point 1, 1, so right 1, up 1. Then I have the point 2, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And remember, when you're graphing this part, you're not actually doing a curve. This part is going to be a straight line. And again, we chose to. We could have kept going. So this line is also going to keep going. So we draw in an arrow. And we're done.